Troy Aikman and Joe Buck have announced that they are moving over to another network and leaving the booth. 20 years for them in the booth together?
20 years together. I did 10 seasons with them. Yeah.
A decade. Yeah. And we're talking about, Russell leaving Seattle. But this is the thing. When you spend that much time with them, It's not just about Sunday. It's not just about the games you guys did on Thursday. It's, the pre-production meetings. It's the dinners. It's the plane rides. It's everything. And they become your family. So how are you feeling? Be honest.
Yeah. So I was sad all week. You had to deal with me the last 2 weeks. This all happened fast. This all happened. I wasn't expecting it. I'll be completely honest. Don't think a lot of people were. And, I am known for being one tough cookie. I can deal with a lot of things. I have dealt with a lot of things. But when I had to speak to both of those guys separately, when they both, had officially left, oh God, I cried. And I don't think they both expected that from me. I'll cry right now. You said it perfectly. It's not even about yes, it's about working the games with them, but there are so many moments. Like I told both of them, I came to Fox to work with them. I just thought it would be so cool to do games with them. And you said it perfectly. I know these people sometimes better than I know my husband. You are every Thanksgiving, I am with them. Past 2 Christmases, I've been with them. You are on their planes. You are at their house. They've listened to my fertility issues. They knew about my cancer issues. I've listened to them with their daughters or, having their babies and things like that. And it's just crazy. They literally become your family, and they at times are closer to you than your actual blood family or your husband and anything like that. So, I have been sad. I am tired of being sad because I need to be a big girl and move on. But I think this brings up another issue with me. I'm very good. Now. Oh, yeah. I'm just not good with change. I'm not. And I understand, I don't hold it against anybody for leaving. Look, I left ESPN after being there for 8 years and came to Fox. But like I said at the Pat Summerall Award, that was one of the best career moves I ever made. And a lot of that had to do with, yes, my crew, but my relationship with those two. They became my brothers, and they became my really best friends. So,
honey,
I'm sad, but I'm so happy for them. And yeah.
Oh,
whatever,
seeing you cry makes me want to cry.
Well, they mean a lot to Fox, and they're a lot of the history. And I have a story for every game. I mean, everything. And even we were talking about the NFC Championship 2 years ago in Green Bay. And you just know when shit is clicking and it's going well. And, we had this awesome matchup with Erin and Tom. And we were so freaking excited. The boys nailed their hit. Of course, they always do. And then Ronaldo does his hit. And then I go to do mine. And the sun came out, and I referenced it because I was talking about the cold temps. And then we went to break, and I just remember Troy saying, "Hey, can Tom and Erin hear me?" And we said, "Yeah, we can hear you." And he just said, "You guys just nailed that. That was awesome." It was just things like that, you know, and we've had a lot of good times. And
Erin,
I'm shitty with
chemistry.
Change.
It's also it's chemistry. And here's the thing, you talk about, closer to them sometimes than your husband. Obviously, that's not true. But the idea of you spend
sometimes
so much time. Oh my God.
Sometimes it is. Yeah.
But this idea that, it is family, and we've talked about it at length. You and I have both gone through really shitty things in a lot of different ways, sometimes the same ways, but Fox is family. And we always talked about that. You even said that in your speech at for accepting the Pat Summerall Award, and you got emotional about it. And it's because it's really hard. We've worked for other people, both you and I, and it's not the same. It's not the same anywhere else. And, when those bad things have happened to us, that company, excuse me, has been there for us. And so I am sorry that you're losing, your teammates in the booth and also just your friends. But it brings up a larger issue. And you and I were talking about it before we even got on here about change. And I welcome change. I like change. I think that to a detriment, I probably like it too much. I think I get complacent.
How is that? That's just how you're wired.
It's how I'm wired. It's why I've moved so many different times. It's why I change my hair color. I cut my hair. I get extensions. I can't stay. I have an itchy foot, as they say. It's right now it's a rash, but not kidding. But I
what are
have
you putting on that? What are you taking for that?
It's a steroid cream. I wouldn't pass the PEDs, but yeah, it's a weird rush. I suppose it's from stress. A lot of stress. Anyways, I like change.
All the stress.
So my question to you is, why is change hard for you? Because to me, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, well, change and moving on or whatever. But it's harder for you. Why? Why do you like consistency versus the opposite?
I don't know. It's probably the thought of being safe. You mentioned ESPN, and I actually, I was there for 8 years of my career, and much like how I'm having a hard time with the guys leaving, I was the same. I took a huge leap of faith and left ESPN to go to Fox, and I was leaving, 3 guys that I bawled over. I mean, I remember calling at the time, Chip Kelly was at Oregon. I called Coach K. And I called Dan Patrick. I called a couple of people because I would sit on my couch in New York and just bawl because I had this opportunity. I knew I wanted to go to to Fox to work in the NFL. I wasn't going to be able to do that with ESPN. And there were 3 guys, Mike Tirico, Kirk Herbstreit, and Chris Fowler, who were my people. They were my brothers. They were my Joe and Troy.
Yeah.
And those were the things that were hi, exactly.
I mean,
those were the things that were like, oh, what'd she need?
She's a big fan of Tirico too. That's what she wanted to say.
Does a great job. Really does. Those were what was holding me back at ESPN. I was like, no, but I have my family there. And the day it was announced, I couldn't even call those guys. I was actually trying to remember if I called them because I was so upset to leave them. So I was able to deal with that. And then I was able to come to Fox and make, 2 new best friends in Joe and Troy. So look, life goes on. I need to remember those things. But it just brings up a really big thing with me, how I just don't accept change. I will say this. I feel like the tears, and I think the boys have been very surprised. I think our management has been surprised about my reaction because I don't cry a lot in front of other people, but I've been very vulnerable and open about my thoughts about them leaving. That has everything to do with like us suffering our loss in, the baby world last summer. So I'm trying to be better about getting that stuff out because you keep it in and just bad shit happens to your body. So I apologize to Joe, Troy, our management, my producer, my director for being
stop it. No, stop it right now. Do not apologize for emotion. And here's this. See, this gets back into that whole female versus male conversation. Do you think men apologize for their emotions? Maybe their emotions are different and it's not tears, whatever. Do not apologize for giving a shit. Do you think that our management are like, oh, Erin's crying, like she's crying? No, it's like you care. And that's I mean,
care.
Yeah, you care. Can you imagine if you were like the opposite? You're like, okay, cool. Like,
okay,
it was nice working with you guys. Bye. They'd be like, what the fuck? Like, no, I think that one of the many therapists I've had, you told me that vulnerability is a good thing. It's actually a sign of strength. So you being even vulnerable here, and like anytime I see you get emotional, I get emotional because as a girlfriend, you just want to like hug you and say it's okay. Here's the good news. Joe and Troy aren't going anywhere in your lives. It looks different professionally. And like you mentioned
just like Tirico, Herbstreit, and Fowler. Exactly.
Right. And so you still lean on those guys constantly, and Joe and Troy will be the same for you. So it's just, I always look at life as different chapters. And in reading the books, you don't want to stay on the same chapter for too long because like we know what that story looks like. So to me, I welcome change because it's kind of, albeit scary, it's exciting, like, ooh, what is on the other side? So you're not replacing them with whoever takes over in the booth. It's just a different chapter in your story. And sometimes change is good because then it even rejuvenates, everyone around you, kind of has like forces your hand to, I know for me, sometimes I get complacent in my job or personally or whatever, and I need like a little Ignite-Ment.